The Vanderbilts, once America's richest family, lost everything in 3 generations. Meanwhile, the Rothschild banking dynasty has preserved their billions for 250 years. The secret: the 8 things old money families never buy. These 8 refusals separate legacy from collapse. 7 are symptom, the 8th is a disease. Number 1, they never buy a loud monogram. In the world of new money, the price tag is the point. People pay massive premiums to become walking advertisements, thinking a $3,000 logo-drenched Gucci belt or a handbag covered in LV or GG buys them entry into the elite. But here's the reality: in the high-stakes rooms of London, Geneva, and New York, if a stranger can estimate your net worth from 50 feet away, you aren't projecting power. You're projecting a desperate need for external validation. You are effectively saying, please look at me, I can afford this. Old money operates on the principle of stealth wealth or quiet luxury. They buy fabrics, not labels. They understand that the highest quality goods often don't have a brand name visible at all. They'll spend that same $3,000, or likely double, on a Loro Piana Vicuña sweater or a Brunello Cucinelli coat with 0 brand. Why? Because the texture of the 12-micron wool and the perfection of the drape are the only signals they need to send. This is a linguistic shift. New money speaks a loud, common tongue meant for the masses. Old money whispers in a dialect that only people of their own circle can hear. They assume you already know they have the money. They don't feel the need to introduce their bank account before they introduce themselves. When you stop wearing logos, you stop asking for permission to be seen as wealthy. You simply are. Economists call this counter-signal. When you are at the very top of a hierarchy, you no longer need the symbols of that hierarchy to prove your position. This is why a tech billionaire wears a grey t-shirt and a multi-generational landowner wears an old waxed Barber jacket that's been patched 3 times. The walking billboard is a trap for the middle class and the newly rich because it consumes capital that could be invested, all for the sake of a fleeting dopamine hit from a stranger's gaze. But if a $3,000 belt is a trap, wait until you see what costs $2 million per year just to keep the lights on. Number 2, they never buy the showpiece. We've all seen them on Zillow, the glass box mansions with 20,000 square feet of white marble, 15 bathrooms and a car gallery, monuments designed for an Instagram reel or a Netflix reality show rather than a family. They are impressive to the eye, but they are hollow to the soul. These homes are liabilities disguised as assets. They have no soul, no history, and most importantly, no resale value to anyone except another person looking to show off. Wealth that lasts prefers what we call the legacy estate. They seek out properties with provenance, a 19th century brownstone in Mayfair or a country estate in the Hudson Valley with good bone, and they modernize it invisibly. When old money renovates, you won't see neon LED strips or waterfalls in the foyer. You'll see a kitchen that costs 6 figures, hidden behind hand-carved cabinetry that looks 50 years old. You'll see HVAC systems integrated into crown molding from the 1880s. Here's the financial reality. A Bel Air showpiece costs $40 million to purchase and approximately $2 million annually to maintain. Staff, security, landscaping, utilities. A comparable Mayfair townhouse costs $40 million, but only $200,000 yearly in upkeep. Same entry price, 10 times the difference in annual bleed. One is a house built for a photo shoot. The other is a home built for inheritance. New money buys a house to impress their guests tonight. Old money buys a home to anchor their great-grandchildren a century from now. They understand that a home isn't just a place to sleep. It's a fortress for the family culture. A glass box is fragile. A stone estate is permanent. There's also the tax and upkeep reality. Old money is notoriously frugal about invisible costs. They would rather own a smaller, high-quality plot in a location that has been prestigious for 300 years than a massive palace in a trendy neighborhood that might be a ghost town in 20. They buy into communities, not just floor plans, so they refuse the man trap. But there's a smaller expense that bleeds you dry every single September, and most people don't even realize they're caught in it. Number 3, they never buy into the upgrade treadmill. We live in a culture of planned obsolescence. Every September, millions of people line up like clockwork for a phone that's 2% faster or a car with a slightly larger screen. Old money finds this cycle not just wasteful, but psychologically exhausting, even pathological. They don't buy the new because they value the permanent. This is the distinction between a gadget and a tool. You will often see a billionaire driving a 15-year-old Land Rover Defender or a Volvo station wagon. You'll see a Patek Philippe or a mechanical Rolex from 1965 on their wrist rather than the latest smartwatch. Why? Because a well-maintained tool is a statement of character and stability. A gadget is just a ticking clock of obsolescence. A smartwatch is electronic waste in 5 years. A mechanical watch is an heirloom for 5 generations. By refusing to chase the latest version of everything, they free up the mental energy, the decision cap, to focus on things that actually compound: their businesses, their charity, and their private peace. They understand that the latest is the enemy of the greatest. If you are always upgrading, you never actually own anything. You are just renting a lifestyle from big tech. There's also a deeper principle at work. Durability signals stability. When you drive the same car for 15 years, you're communicating that your wealth isn't volatile. Number 4, they never buy an audience. In the age of social media, the spectacle wedding has become epidemic. We see the $5 million destination weddings in Lake Como with drone swarms, 3 dress changes, and custom hashtag. That isn't a celebration of love, it's a high-budget production intended to provoke envy in people the couple doesn't even like. The wealthiest families, the ones whose names are on the buildings, tend to do the exact opposite. When the Duke of Westminster, one of the wealthiest men in the UK, got married, it wasn't a circus. It was a refined private affair. Old money knows that privacy is the last luxury. It's the one thing you can't buy back once you've sold it. If you feel the need to broadcast your most intimate moments to strangers, you aren't celebrating your wealth. You're begging for their approval. They buy intimacy. They host events in family chapels or private gardens. They have strict no-phone policies. They understand that the more people who see your life, the less of it actually belongs to you. To old money, the public eye is a threat to be managed, not a drug to be chased. They don't want to be famous for being rich. They want to be significant while remaining invisible. There's a broader principle here. In spectacle is inversely proportional to significance. The more you need to announce something, the less secure you are in its value. A confident marriage doesn't require 500 witnesses. A confident fortune doesn't require a parade. The wedding isn't the marriage, the announcement isn't the achievement. True wealth is knowing the difference. But here's where things get dangerous, because while weddings waste 5 million once, this next trap can lose you repeatedly. Number 5, they never buy someone else's certainty. This is the financial core of their survival. New money is often made in a burst of luck or a single successful venture, and in a rush to stay relevant, they chase the next big thing. They buy the hype, whether it's meme stocks, speculative crypto tokens, or the latest disruptive tech bubble. Following the hype means you're trusting a stranger's marketing department over your own analysis. Old money is notoriously boring. They make their fortune once, then spend the rest of their lives protected. They don't look for moonshots. They buy things that have existed for centuries and will exist for centuries more. They buy farmland in the Midwest that's been producing corn and soy since the 1800s. They buy timberland. They buy blue chip stocks in companies that provide the basic infrastructure of civilization: water, power, food. They aren't trying to 10 times their money in a month to prove they are geniuses. They are trying to double it every decade for the next 2 centuries. They choose the bedrock over the bubble every single time. They know that the person who promises you 20% returns is either lying to you or doesn't understand risk. Old money would rather sleep on a 4% return they know is coming than gamble on a 40% return that might vanish overnight. They follow the Lindy effect, the idea that the longer something has survived, the longer it is likely to survive. A company that has paid a dividend for 100 years is a better bet than a startup that went public yesterday. When Silicon Valley Bank collapsed in 2023, founders who kept everything in one high-yield account lost access overnight. Families who'd maintained relationships with JP Morgan or Coots for 80 years barely noticed, so they protect their wealth from bad investment. But there's something even more insidious, something that slowly suffocates you even when you own it outright. Number 6, they never buy high-maintenance clutter. Here's where wealth becomes its own prison. To the person who just came into money, wealth means more. More cars, 5 vacation homes, a 200-foot mega yacht that requires a crew of 50 and a full-time engineer. They think they own their stuff, but eventually their stuff starts to own them. Their entire life becomes a logistical nightmare of scheduling repairs, managing staff, and worrying about hull insurance. The average mega yacht owner uses their vessel 6 weeks per year at a $30 million purchase price, and annual operating costs of $3 million. That's roughly $500,000 per day of actual use. True wealth, the kind that provides actual happiness, prefers an edited life. They follow the philosophy of few but better. They'd rather own one perfect sailboat they actually know how to pilot than a yacht that requires a corporate board to move. They'd rather have one house in a place they love than 5 houses they only visit once every 2 years. They refuse to buy anything that complicates their personal freedom. If you aren't free to walk away from your assets at any moment, if your possessions require your constant attention and mental bandwidth, you aren't wealthy. You are just a high-paid custodian of your own things. Old money buys time, and clutter is the greatest thief of time ever invented. Minimalism isn't poverty, it's the ultimate power move. It's saying, I could afford 10 of these, but I only need one perfect version. Now we've covered 6 traps, but there's one final symptom that ties them all together, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Number 7, they never buy the performance. This is the culmination of all the previous status traps. New money often views life as a state. They buy things specifically to perform the role of a successful person. They finance Italian supercars they find uncomfortable to drive just to impress people at a stoplight they will never see again. They buy tables at clubs to show they are VIPs. Old money has achieved the ultimate freedom, the freedom from needing proof. True wealth isn't the ability to buy anything, it's the power to step away and feel zero urge to announce where you went. When you see a man in a rumpled linen shirt eating at a quiet bistro, and you later find out he owns half the shipping containers in the Atlantic, you are seeing someone who has stopped performing. Every time you buy something to validate your existence, you are confessing to the world that you don't think you're enough without it. You are essentially renting getting your self-esteem from luxury brands, and the lease payment never ends. The most powerful person in the room is usually the one who doesn't look like they have anything to prove, not because they're hiding their wealth, but because your opinion is irrelevant to their sense of self-worth. When you stop performing, you finally start existing. You stop being a character in a movie for others and start being the director of your own life. You're not buying the thing. You're buying the story you'll tell yourself about why you bought the thing. So we've covered the 7 symptoms: logos, showpieces, upgrades, audiences, hype, clutter, and performance. But what connects them all? What is the actual disease that's killing generational wealth? Number 8, they never buy urgency, the disease. New money operates in a state of constant crisis. There is a frantic, vibrating energy to it. They need to flex now. They need to multiply their money now. They need to be on the guest list now. Why? Because they are terrified that if they slow down, if they stop shouting for even a second, the world will forget they exist. Their wealth is tied to their current visibility. Old money has the one luxury you can't purchase on any stock exchange: time certainty. They operate on a different clock. They know their family name mattered in 1920. It matters today, and it will still matter in 2120. When you have time certainty, you don't rush into trends. You don't panic buy status because a neighbor did. You don't feel the need to make it because you've already arrived. Urgency is a sign of scarcity. It's the fear that the window is closing. Legacy is the realization that you own the building. When you stop buying urgency, you stop making short-term mistakes. You stop overpaying for things to get them now. You wait for the right investment, the right property, and the right moment. The greatest wealth isn't a number in a bank account. It's the ability to wait. The patient man always ends up owning the impatient man's assets. The counterintuitive number. Ultimately, wealth is defined by what you refuse, not what you acquire. It is the discipline of the counterintuitive no. It's the strength to say, I have the capital to buy that. I have the status to merit that, but I have the wisdom to reject it. The goal isn't to look like a Vanderbilt or a Rothschild. The goal is to adopt their psychology. True mastery is realizing that the only person you need to impress is the person you'll be in 20 years. Your challenge. Here's your challenge. Starting tomorrow, track every purchase you make for 1 week. Before each transaction, ask yourself one question. Am I buying this thing, or am I buying relief from urgency? Am I solving a real problem, or am I responding to manufactured time pressure? The families that last 250 years know the difference. Start with one refusal today. Say no to the walking billboard. Say no to the phone upgrade you don't need. Say no to the urge to prove yourself to people who aren't even paying attention. Watch what happens to your bank account and your blood pressure when you stop trying to prove you've made it. You might realize that the moment you stop trying to prove it is the moment you actually have. Mastery is the only real luxury. Closing. Which of these 8 refusals hit hardest for you? Was it the upgrade treadmill or the disease of urgency? Drop a comment below. Which refusal challenges you most? The logo, the showpiece, or the urgency itself? If this video shifted your perspective on how you see money and status, hit the subscribe button and join the side of wise wealth. We're building something permanent. Thanks for watching.